What's going on, everybody? It's the PR. I am me, and I am here with another episode of Prime Nostalgia Podcast. And I'm here with Rudy, the unofficial San Antonio movie reviewer. Whew, that is a mouthful. Yes, how you doing today?
Hey, thank you so much for having me, man. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate it, and looking forward to chatting with you about, I'm sure, movies and nostalgia and whatever else comes our way.
Now, this is your first time, and everybody's first time. They all get the same question, so you have to get it too. And that is, what was a typical Friday night for you growing up? Whether you had to go out somewhere or whether you had a certain movie you like to watch or certain shows that you watch on Friday. Tell me about that time.
Oh, prime time. That is actually, you know what? That's one of the best questions I've ever been asked.
Oh, it's not a
I,
question.
I
Okay.
like that. I like that. That's very original. We talking as a kid growing up or a young man in my
Anytime
20s?
that you, anytime you can remember fondly of your
Oh,
best memories.
okay. Well, I'd have to say in the 80s, because a typical Friday for me was school was out,
Hmm.
and I would go home and just put on my play clothes, because school clothes and play clothes are two different things. And I would just go get my bike and go meet up with my friends, and we just go to the local arcade, play video
Hmm.
games. Then we'd spend a night at a friend's house, and we'd rent some scary movies like Nightmare on Elm Street, everything you see on Stranger Things or The Goonies. Because there was no social media, no internet, we just all hung out. So just meeting with my friends or cousins, playing arcade games, and watching movies. Those are the best Friday nights, in my opinion. We got to stay up late. We got to go to bed early. Oh man, those are the best. That's definitely what I did. The fondest Friday nights were my childhood.
What kind of arcade games were there that you played? Or what game would you like to master at?
Well, I am a Jedi when it comes to Galaga.
Okay.
Like I won't die until like stage 33 or 32, and I can get on that forever. So one quarter will last me forever. I loved Pac-Man. Alien Syndrome was a fun one. But I think about the late 80s is when the Nintendo would came out. I'm sorry. So we all get Contra and play that, try to be Contra with the Konami code. But in the arcades, it was definitely Galaga. It still is. Anytime I go to an arcade, you've seen like the updated versions of Galaga or Centipede or Pac-Man. I play those all the time.
Yeah. Have you ever been to a barcade?
A barcade? Yeah, there's a few like Dave and Buster's around here. Is that what you mean? Where you can have some drinks and just kind of
Well,
like
it's the
play
same
games?
thing, but it's an official like term, like it's an official thing.
Oh, okay. Well, what is it exactly? Help me out with that because it's the first time I'm
Well,
hearing
it's like a
it.
bar. It's basically what in the name was a bar and an arcade, but they like
Ah,
kind of imported the older arcade games, kind of like rare. They have some rare games, and because there isn't many arcades around, so they kind of took those games from back in the day and probably and revamped them, but they still have that archaic feeling.
oh man, no, I have not seen those. I mean, there's a few bars that have them around here, but like there's this place called Slackers here in San Antonio, and there's a bar, and you go upstairs. They have these old school arcade games like Street Fighter 2, Mortal Kombat 2, even X Men versus.
Capcom. Oh,
There you go. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. But the controllers never work. You can't jump or you can't move left or right. They're all locked up, so it kind of sucks. But we have one year.
you know, you uh, you are a child of the '80s, so that is a time that I see. I wasn't obviously I wasn't born in the '80s, so that's the time I look back on, and it's like it's a good time for me. Like looking back and watching these movies and these TV shows.
Hmm.
Do you have like a favorite genre of movies from back in the '80s?
Oh, it has to be horror.
Oh, okay.
Because yeah, horror is my favorite genre, and I'm actually going to start talking more about horror on my channel. I just have a fascination with it. Like again, in the '80s, it was all slasher movies. I remember my very first horror movie experience, believe it or not, was Halloween, the original.
Mm.
And it wasn't at the movies, also at home. I remember I was peeking in the living room, seeing what my parents are doing. And it was that scene where Jamie Lee Curtis is right by the door. And in the background, you see Michael Myers laying down. And then all of a sudden, he just sits up, done,
Yeah.
Yeah, that whole scene. That's my very first ever like introduction to horror, and I don't remember the age, but I was like maybe 6 or 7. But yeah, Freddy Krueger, Jason, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre movies, Poltergeist. Those are all the movies I grew up with, and parents back then were just like, "Go to your room," and we just watch whatever we wanted to watch. You know, and it traumatized me. I had a lot of traumatizing nights, but I have a fondness for horror, um, especially the slasher genre. I have a Amazon Prime account, and I love Amazon Prime because they have all these low budget, never heard of horror movies from the 70s and 80s, and I just tend to watch them and just laugh to myself because they're so entertaining. But yeah, horror is my genre.
So, was there any movie that came out that had you like believing like this is real life? Like I'm really gonna get killed if I turn the lights off, or if I go in the bathroom, or if I answer the phone.
Oh, that's a good. Oh, that these are some great questions, man. I love it. Uh, actually, the one movie that messed me up was the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Okay.
Because it looks so real. It looks like a snuff film, especially the way Hopper shot it. And as a kid, I would always visit cousins. Like we never stayed home on weekends. We would get in the truck, and my dad would drive us to cousins that lived in the ranch somewhere. So we always drove, and there was, you're in the middle of nowhere sometimes. And I was always terrified. We'd stop at a gas station, like in the film, and end up running out of gas, and then having to stay in this house, and then slowly get killed and chopped away by Leatherface. So that film, I remember seeing it, the screams, and just the way it looked real. It didn't look fake. And I remember that really just terrifying me. And every time we go on the road, I just look around at all these nowhere, cities and these towns, and I would just be terrified. So that one messed me up.
Well, I tell you, mine is The Ring.
The Ring,
Uh,
yes.
yeah. So the part where after you watch the clip and they say your phone rings.
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
watched it with my cousin for the first time, and he had already seen it, so he was like, "I'm gonna go to the bathroom." What he did was he went to the bathroom and he called from his cell phone, the house phone, and yeah, so yeah, I was kind of shaking up on that way.
That's funny, dude. That's an awesome
Oh
cousin. That's awesome.
yeah, man. uh, but aside from like shows, do you have like excuse me, aside from movies, do you have shows that you like as well, or you just kind of didn't really get into shows like that?
Well, I think the 80s were fun. I didn't really watch a lot of TV in the 80s because I was playing outside all the time. Got home from school, I played outside. I really didn't watch shows. I did watch cartoons like the Transformers in the 80s and G.I. Joe. I watched those are my favorite cartoons. I think shows, I was really hooked in the 90s. The 90s were like the perfect time because I graduated from high school. I'm in college. I was more aware of how to make a film and storylines. So the X Files was one of my favorite shows of all time. And then Star Trek Deep Space Nine, The Next Generation, Star Trek Voyager. I was a Trekkie. I still am a Trekkie, and those were the prime era in my lifetime. Was that the 90s? There were so many great shows that were just new and innovative, especially the X Files at the time. There was nothing else like it at the time. And Mulder and Scully, that whole dynamic, and of course Star Trek. I was a big fan of that. So those are my shows.
Yeah, the '90s is a good time that I see a lot of people obviously want to bring that back. Uh,
Mhm.
but if there's anything that hasn't been brought back yet from the '90s that you had to bring back or you wanted to bring back, not even like not a reboot or anything, just anything you want to bring back, like just back, period. What would it be?
Oh, these are the best questions I've ever been asked on any show. I applaud you, sir. I applaud you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, I mean that. If I were to bring anything back, I probably, uh, I probably would bring back the sense of humor that people had in the '90s. Because and what I mean by that is that
Yeah,
nobody took anything seriously back then. A joke was a joke.
yeah,
You could joke about anything, and people would just laugh it off. Because if you're with your buddies or in a public place, you can just laugh about whatever, and no one took anything so seriously. And nowadays, you can't say what you want, even if it comes from a fun, I'm joking with my friends intent. You're laughing, saying stupid shit. Like, I'm sorry, I don't mean to curse, but stupid
That's
things.
cool.
And you can offend somebody, and then that can be on a tweet or recorded, then you can get fired from your job. It's just this the atmosphere of people just being so sensitive nowadays and so politically correct is what I don't like. And I wish back things were like that in the 90s again, where it was just a joke was a joke, and that's all it was, and people weren't so uptight and sensitive. I would love to bring that back.
Yeah, I really love that. I love like how you can say anything like because everybody knows it's a joke. Everybody's I won't say they all in on it, but they like they understand it's a joke. She's not really trying to hurt me. But it seems like
Yeah,
now in these days you can say hi, how you doing, and somebody say that you're trying to hurt them. So I don't know. Um,
yeah.
what that reminds me of. Okay, I'm not sure if you have you ever saw a Def Comedy Jam. Any episodes of it?
I Russell Simmons Def Comedy Jam with Martin Lawrence, dude. I loved
All right.
that show. I loved it. I mean, I remember when it first came out with Kid Capri and everybody. I loved it, man.
Yeah. So in the beginning, Martin's the host. He comes out, he jokes on people, and they take it. They know he's not going to hurt them for real. That's kind of what I
Yeah.
wanted to be in a sense like that. Like you could talk about you, but we still all one. We still, I'm not going to hurt you, anything like that. But things have changed.
Mm-hmm.
But I would, yeah, I will bring that back. I will also bring back Dunkaroos because those are good. Just saying.
Yeah. I'm all for it, man. You got my support.
Now, as far as any other shows or anything, I'm not sure because, like I said, this day and age, uh, a lot of stuff won't fly. Like I was watching it was a video. Does shows hold up? And they played Seinfeld, and a lot of people from that age demographic from then they put in today's world, and they said that it won't hold up because some things are offensive and this and that. So I'm still with you on that point of bringing that sense of humor back.
Yeah, everybody just needs to lighten up a little bit and just not take things too seriously. A joke's a joke, and enjoy life, man. There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, man. But we got to talk about you and being San Antonio's unofficial movie reviewer. Look,
Yeah.
look. I gotta tell you, first of all, I'm happy for you that you made the news.
Thank you. Thank you.
How was that going, by the way?
It's coming along. I still talk to the producers about every week, really. I pitch segments, but things are different from what I'm understanding on getting on the show. It's there's more traffic, so whenever they can fit me in, they can, and I'm in talks with them now. I'm also talking to some other stations as well, just trying to get my name out there. But yeah, it was a huge accomplishment, and I'm very proud of that, and I'm glad that the producers uh, saw my email and just said, "Hey, let's give this guy a shot." So I am forever grateful.
Okay. So with you being knowing a little bit of behind the scenes of what happens on the news, and you, I'm pretty sure was terrified your first time. How did you adapt?
You know what? I'll be completely honest with you. I wasn't nervous at all.
Oh, really?
I felt at home. I was fine. I wasn't nervous because when you go on, they go, okay, here's the segments for the hour. You're going to come on at 9:20. We're going to introduce you and just stand off camera and walk in and say hi. And the one thing I remember, I walked up and I started talking, and my mouth immediately got cotton mouth. I got my mouth dried up immediately. And I was like trying to lick my lips and the inside because my lips were getting stuck on my teeth as I spoke. And I'm like, I'm not nervous, but my body inside was just like freaked out. So my mouth got immediately dry, but I had a great time. And, they said I did great. They let me read the teleprompter at the end, which is really not that hard, but I did it. But they were all fantastic. And each time I went on, I think I've been on a total of like 5 times. And each time is even better. I feel like, hey, I have more freedom. I can do this. I can do that. And they allow me. So they're awesome.
That is a cool story though, honestly. But
Thank you.
yeah. So with you, where did you want to get where did you get the name like San Antonio's unofficial? Like were you just like, hey, nobody's claimed it, so I'm gonna claim it, or is it just off, something off the top of your head?
Well, it's funny. That's a good story, man. That's a good question, actually, what I meant to say. But it was like in 2015, like late 2015, before I started. I was just trying to think of a clever name because I love my city and I love the Spurs. I love all that. So I was thinking, what can I do? I knew as far as a guy going on YouTube, there's thousands upon thousands of movie critics, right?
Yeah.
You type in the Annabelle review, you're just going to be bombarded with just thousands of hundreds of these reviews. So my thought process was, let me conquer San Antonio first, and then I can conquer Texas, and then go out and just kind of build that empire. That was my
Yeah.
mentality. So I go, what name can I come up with? And I go, does San Antonio have a movie critic? So I typed in the internet San Antonio's movie critic, and nothing came up. And I'm like, well, San Antonio's unofficial movie critic. Nothing came up. I'm like, boom, there it is. And I just went with that. Now, if you Google it, I pop up. So boom, there you go.
Good. Now, I have a. This is off the record.
Okay. Okay.
Do you have? Honestly, I might cut this out. Because I actually do want to know this question. But do you have any like influences? Like, do you like go on watch a bunch of YouTube videos to see how they do theirs and see how you can edit, edit yours and do yours better, or did you just start from the top of your head to do movie reviews, or how was that process?
Oh, that's a again another really good question, man. Well, I before I started, or even before I had the idea to do movie reviews, um, I used to watch Chris Stuckman all the time, and
Okay.
I think Jeremy Johns, and I can't watch Jeremy Johns anymore. I find him, he's a great guy, he's great at what he does, and he's got so much energy, but I find his editing annoying. I hate the jump
Okay.
cuts after every
Yeah.
sentence. That's just horrible
Well,
practices in
he
filmmaking.
has to catch the attention span of some people. I understand.
Yeah, and I get that. It's a great tactic, but I remember it reminded me. Remember Fred?
Oh
Like,
no! Don't remind me of Fred. Oh
I'm
my
sorry
god.
to bring him up, but he had the
Oh
same editing style. I remember my kids would watch
yes.
him. This is like in the early 2000s. I'm like, who the hell is this guy? He's annoying, but he was so popular. But every sentence is a jump cut, and I hated
Yeah.
that. So anybody that does it now, I think of Fred, and it
It's a
just
jump
drives
cut
me insane.
or a zoom in there. Yeah.
Yes, and it's like so damn annoying. Oh, but yeah. So who I follow, again, Chris Stuckman. I think he's the best critic out there. But I didn't want to copy him. So my inspirations are really Siskel and Ebert because in the
Oh
90s
yes, yeah. I
they
like
would
them
be
too.
on yeah, they would be on Sundays, and I would watch them all the time just to kind of hear their thoughts. And I love the counterpoints and just how they spoke about it. So I try to reference them a lot. Their styles I try to pick up, but I also try to be funny. Jared, he's another YouTuber that I follow. He does a lot of opening skits. He does a lot of original, content. Sean Chandler, he lives in Austin, which is north of me. The guy is probably the most successful YouTuber within our circle. He's got over 100,000 subscribers, but he's got
Okay.
his own style. But he's got his own style, and I don't want to copy any of that. I like his business practices and how he's got energy and he's got a certain niche, like with rankings. I don't like doing ranking videos. I like just talking about nostalgia and old school movies, which I'm going to start doing more of. But as far as influences, I wouldn't say it's directly a YouTuber. Chris Stugman was the first one, but I'd have to say my influences are really Siskel and Ebert, Saturday Night Live in the '90s because I love
Mm,
skits. And I
okay.
try to film skits as much as I can and try to be funny. And I want to be myself. I don't want to have the the YouTube voice. Hey guys, thanks
Yeah.
for watching Rudy's movie. Subscribe. I don't want to have that douchebag voice. I just want to be myself.
You
So
kind of
I
sounded like kind of
a
sound like Jeremy
douchebag.
Johnson. You're just saying. Just
Well,
putting that out.
that was totally by accident. But I don't want to have that voice, and I think you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I just want to be myself and have fun and see how that goes, but also improve upon the editing styles and things like that.
Yeah. I know for me, I took I watched these people and I said I want to kind of do what they do. I want to be myself like you, but I put my own. I just be myself, but also incorporate some things that I see. I incorporate some things, but for the most part, I am like to be myself. Now, something I really would want to work on is kind of doing, like he said, like skits in a sense. But I
Mm-hmm.
still have to work on that part of the job, I guess you can say.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, that Cisco. Oh my gosh, I always mess his name up. Sorry, but
Cisco
Ebert
Liebert?
and
Yeah.
Cisco,
Uh-huh.
yeah, I really enjoyed those two. Like I really, their chemistry and everything is great. Even when they argue, is good too. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, I enjoy those too.
Yeah, they were amazing. I loved them.
Now, you said as far as shows, you didn't really watch TV much. So I don't know if I should still ask you this question, but I'm gonna go ahead and ask it anyway because you know, any show you watch, I'm sure you had to have a favorite intro. Do you have a favorite TV show intro of anything?
Oh, that's another good question. Actually, I have several. Um, the Greatest American Hero from the 80s was a good one. The Fall Guy was another awesome intro. I'm sure you'll Google these later. Um, but the X Files, of course, Game of
Okay.
Thrones,
Okay.
True Detective season one.
Ooh, okay. What's the
I
difference
was
between season one and season other seasons intros?
the songs were
Okay.
different
Okay.
and the style was different. But what else? Game of Thrones was actually had that like on my workout mix. So that was always like a popular one. But yeah, those are the ones that just off the top of my head, those shows.
Okay. Um. So, like I said, well, not like I said, like you said, but I just I like a couple, but I also like intro that can like tell me what this show is gonna be about. And for me, I know it's probably a silly show, but nothing tells me what this show is gonna be about than the Kingdom to Kill intro. You probably don't like it because a
King of the
lot
Hill,
of
yeah.
yeah, no, I'm just saying because a lot of older people don't, not older people, a lot of people that wasn't in that time don't like it because it's, I would say it is like goofy for no reason and it is silly. So,
Yeah.
but I don't know, something about it just made me like it.
King of the Hill's awesome. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. So, whew, do you have any movies that's on your radar that's coming out soon? That's on your radar.
Um, well, there's two. The first one is Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark that Guillermo del Toro is presenting. Um, those stories I read in books as a kid, and I remember the art of the books would just terrify me. Whenever I'd spend the night at a cousin's or a friend's house, and there was only one TV in the house, we'd read books or play music. So I remember we would read those books in the dark, and they really frightened me, especially the art. The art is very haunting, and I love the artistic approach in this film coming out. They're really trying to replicate the original artwork and bring it into the real world. So I love the trailers. I'm looking forward to that. The other is the Joaquin Phoenix and the Joker. That film is
Oh,
my most
okay.
anticipated film of the year. He's a fantastic actor. I love the tone and what the trailer's telling us, and I will be there day one to watch that. That is my most anticipated film.
I think they're gonna change a lot of stuff with this movie because I heard like they are not doing a lot of stuff from the comics because they're gonna kind of make it its own thing. So they have a potential to do a lot with that, a story that nobody's ever heard before.
Yeah,
Um,
and I'm fine with that. It doesn't have to be 100% faithful to the comic. I'm fine with something different. Why not?
yeah, I'm fine with a good story. It's something different and it's a good story that makes it's two great things coming together to make an awesome thing. But
Exactly.
do you have any movies that you really dislike? Like when you hear them, you just you can't stand to hear them.
Yes, the Fast and the Furious.
The whole series or just the first one?
Whatever they're doing as of late, I cannot stand them. They're so stupid.
Okay.
I like the Cobbs and Shaw
Hobbs and
movie,
Shaw.
whatever.
Yeah.
I see that trailer and I just roll my eyes and I'm like, this damn film is probably going to make $1 billion, and it's
Well,
just
yeah.
stupid.
It's The Rock and it's an action movie and stuff blows up all the time. Of course it is.
Yeah, The Rock is the most marketable guy in Hollywood. God bless him, but those films are just they're junk food. And I can't stand them, and I just don't realize. I'm like, when did they get popular? When did these street racers become special agents for the government and can hack computers. When did this happen? When did
Honestly, I think
Ludacris was able to do that? I
I,
just don't
I
get
I
it.
think I think The Rock is one of the smartest people in the world. Honestly, like he makes the same
Yes.
exact movie same exact movie 4 times a year almost. Stuff
Yes.
blows
And
up. He's the big dude that beats people up. That's it. That's all you need to know.
yes, I agree with you. He's in every movie. I mean, the guy, every movie he's in is going to be a hit. They're blockbuster hits. He's like, I guess, a modern day Schwarzenegger, just making cheesy action films, which I agree with. It's just that I can't stand him. I avoid him. I'm not going to go see that Hobbs movie because I'm watching the trailer and I'm like, okay, we got no guns. So he goes to Hawaii and they fight bad guys with clubs and sticks. And I'm like, really? Really?
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I'm not gonna watch this. No, I'm fine.
Yeah, I don't know what. It's interesting. I don't know how they're gonna pull that off to make it look logical, but they probably won't because people drop from he dropped from like 20 feet or 30 feet and landed on a car and still lived. So things like that
Yeah,
just happen in those type of movies.
yeah, that's the other thing I find annoying in any movie, really, like the Conjuring films or really anything. Like the protagonist just gets picked up and thrown 30 feet across the room, hits the wall and falls down, and they're not dead or their back's not broken. They just get up like a superhero. That's like too much now. You see that like in every movie practically, and in every show as well.
Yeah, you see a lot of shows too, but I know a movie for me that I just have to roll my eyes at or just am disappointed when I hear it is The
Yeah.
Last Airbender because to me,
Okay.
I really loved Avatar, The Last Airbender, the show, and they just basically what they did is they took a crap all over it, and
Hmm.
it's just because M Night Shyamalan he had a couple of all right things, but
Hmm.
I don't I don't know what he was doing with that one, but
Yeah, I haven't seen that one to be honest. I heard it was really horrible, so I just never saw it.
good for you. I was there day one.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's cool though. Hopefully they can redo it or do better in the next one. Honestly, I don't know how you can mess that up when the product that you took it from is so good, you know. But that happens all the time nowadays, I guess you could say.
I think it's the
With
producers.
all these reboots and all.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of those. I mean, some of them make sense, but and reboots in general, I tend to pass on them. It's just the lack of originality is a problem, but it is what it is. It's what sells.
Some of them make sense and some of them don't, but some like uh the nostalgia factor is so high that they know they
Hmm.
can make a quick buck off of it. That's why the reason.
Yep,
Uh,
I, I agree with
you
you.
know when Fuller House and all that came out and all these other shows came out, everybody wanted to see them. Everybody was paying money, so they was like, "Oh, now we're gonna. Oh, y'all like these? So we're gonna give you 30 more reboots, 30 more movie reboots, and all that." I
Hmm.
think that's too much overload. Well, I'm not gonna lie. Some of them get me. Some of them get me. Some of them don't. But they just want to play up the nostalgia factor for now.
Yeah, and I completely agree with you. And that's what sells. I mean, I always tell friends I mean, I hate reboots, but I get the investment because if I'm a producer and I have $10 million and I want to make that 100 million and I want to make a movie, I'm going to go with a reboot because one, there's a fan base already established. Two,
Mm.
parents, there's some people are going to go see it. So make it cheap, invest something in it and there's a guaranteed return. So I get the safe investment side of it. I get that, but I just wish there was more originality.
Now I'll tell you one movie I'm very disappointed that they having a reboot or whatever you want to call it is Coming to America. I
No,
just
they're not remaking that, are they?
Yes, they are. Is they having a second?
No, no, no,
You didn't know that? Oh,
no. God, no. It's God. They're not going to do anything stupid like make Akeem white or change his ethnicity, are they? Are they going to make it like a
no,
natural?
it's still Eddie Murphy and Arsenio Hall.
Oh, perfect. Okay, so it's not. It's a sequel,
But
or a
I
reboot.
will say the last couple Eddie Murphy movies haven't been all that. That's all I'll say.
Yeah,
But
that's true.
I think since they took so long, I think they'll make it work. Um, I, I just have faith, but I don't know. I don't think they should have redid that one because I've been hearing for years that they were going to redo Beverly Hills Cop, make a fourth one, but nothing of that has come up yet. But now it's official that they're doing Coming to America 2.
Oh, so it's a sequel, not a
It's a
reboot.
sequel. It's a sequel.
Oh, I hope it's rated R, like the original.
I think it will be, but
I,
I'm gonna
yes.
read. I'm gonna read. Do you want me to read you the premise that they gave out for it?
If you have it in front of you, yeah, go ahead. I want to know what this is.
So Akeem returns to America to find his long lost son,
What? Okay.
which doesn't make sense to me because he was only with Lisa. But I'm pretty sure they're gonna find a way to make it work. But you know, uh,
Yeah,
yeah. So however they're gonna find a way to make that work, they're gonna make it work. Hopefully
that's
they make it work.
interesting. Yeah, I'm now I'm interested in that because always he got married once, right? And I don't know. I'm pretty sure they'll be clever about it, but I hope it's like I said, rated R like the original. I loved Coming to America, Harlem Nights.
Let me
Good
tell you,
comedy,
I've
but rated
seen like
R.
all of Eddie Murphy's movies in the '80s and like some of the ones in the '90s are like all. I have them all on DVD. I have them all in collection. I love them all.
Hmm?
That is just
Absolutely.
yes. Well, since we're on this topic, do you have a favorite Eddie Murphy movie?
Oh God. Oh, you know what? Me and my friends quote this every time we go out. We quote the Golden Child all the
Really?
damn time. Yes, like whenever we're at a bar and we're about to take a shot, I always yell to Monty. Just something stupid, and they get it. So we always drink to Monty, and I want the knife and. Stupid things like that. We quote that movie all the damn time. It's. I don't know if that's even a hit of his, but I don't care. I just saw it this past weekend.
Nah. I would say like, oh man, I can't decide honestly if I wanted to be Beverly Hills Cop or Coming to America. But it's in between that mix. It's in that mix because he just lands for me personally. His comedy lands for me.
Yeah, yeah, and I agree with that. I mean, there's so many. I mean, Coming to America, I saw it on VHS all the time. Harlem Nights, I loved. I mean, you had Red Fox, Richard Pryor, everybody in it. I loved Harlem
Well,
Nights.
I'll tell you, I loved it, but the middle part it needed some work for me
Yeah,
personally.
it kind of drags, but the comedy is just like I loved it.
Yeah, I love the
But
other part with Red Fox and Della Reese is in the kitchen and they're yelling
yeah,
at each other like an old couple. Yeah, that part is like one of my favorite parts in the whole movie.
Why'd you put this orange juice in the refrigerator with just a swallow left in the container? Phil, why'd you leave me the hell alone? But that don't make no sense. You should have just finished it. Don't put it back in the refrigerator with just a swallow in the container. I get my mouth all set for some orange juice, and it's just a swallow in the container. Well, swallow it and shut the fuck up.
Eddie Murphy, you know what? I'm sorry. I don't want this to be an Eddie Murphy fest. So I'm gonna try to move on.
it's
But
okay.
yeah, just know Eddie Murphy is one of my favorite. Like I don't know if he's one of my favorite actors or they'll just love more of his movies. So I guess you can count that as whatever the case is. Eddie Murphy is one of my favorites. I'm gonna close that book because this isn't an Eddie Murphy tribute. But where can people find you? Where can they find you at?
They can find me all over social media, like primarily on YouTube. Just type in Rudy's movie reviews or San Antonio's Unofficial Movie Critic, and they can find me there. I'm on Twitter and on Instagram and also Facebook. You can just again, I'm sure you'll put the
Yep.
links in the description below. But yeah, I mean, that's what I do. I got a new home, so I got my studio all set up. So I'm producing more videos. I try to do one a week. And that's been a good flow for me. I'm actually going to focus on retro reviews, like my passion, my top 5 movies. So I'm working on a Superman review, the original with
Ooh.
Chris Reeve,
Okay.
uh, Flash Gordon, just the classics that I love. And those are going to be like kind of video essays. So I'm going to put a lot of work into that. But that's where you folks can find me. I have a playlist, my best work. So if they don't know who I am, they can check out that playlist, and if they like it, they can subscribe. I'd appreciate it.
Now, I will say we will be right back, but we have to take a short break. I gotta read some ads. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. We're gonna be right back, all right?
What's up? Kel Mitchell. Come join us at the Good Burger Pop-Up, opening up this July in West Hollywood. We got your good burgers, we got your good chunks, and we got your good shakes. We're even serving up some hot photo ops and some fun games too. Reservations for this limited time experience go on sale Monday. So make sure you follow us for more information. It's gonna be a good time.
Okay, so we're back, and you and your '80s movies, your retro movies. Do you have like anything in mind for a younger generation? You know, anything that you wanna like, anything you would pass down to somebody that wants to know about the '80s?
Oh man, like if somebody came up and asked me, "Hey, I want to watch '80s movies. What would you recommend?"
Yeah, it's like but think of it as like a younger, like maybe teenager, 20-year-old or 20-year-old, somebody that doesn't really know what that is yet or haven't experienced that time.
Oh man, I guess like what movies would I recommend, or what would I tell them about the movies? I guess I'm not understanding the question.
Okay. I probably asked that wrong. My bad. But what movies would you just recommend for a younger audience? I just put it like that.
Oh, okay. Well, there's the Back to the Future trilogy. That's one of the greatest of all time. It's multi-generational. My son is yeah, exactly. My son is like 13 years old. He saw that movie 4 years, not long, like maybe a long time ago when he was 6, and it's heavily influenced him. He's got a Back to the Future poster in his room, so that definitely captures the spirit of the '80s, in my opinion. The Indiana Jones films are also fun. I grew up on those. My childhood really just circles around like the Goonies. That's and everything you see like on Stranger Things or It, the part one that just came out.
Yeah.
That's what we did. We played outside. We got on our bikes and we just went and explored and did things, and we got into trouble. But there's another good one, Stand By Me. I don't know if you've seen that one where the kids go up with a dead body.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah, that's '80s. I know it's based in the '50s, but that's what we did too. We just went and did stuff. Like I said, I read comics a lot growing up, and we read, and we played games, and we just did things. So that's a really good one as well. Of course, there's the John Hughes movies.
Those don't get me started. Please don't.
Yeah. There's just so much. It was just a great era, and it's funny because a lot of the times, like I watch Stranger Things, and there's a lot of things they talk about, and I'm like, well, like the Never-Ending Story, like it was popular, but it wasn't as popular as some of the shows and things make it out to be nowadays. So I find that kind of funny, but yeah, it's a golden era, man. It's like right before the internet, right before social media, I guess, in a way, but it was just a great era, a lot of originality, a lot of great talent. I loved it.
Now, I have to ask you this question because I was asked by one of my subscribers to ask you this because you were a kid in the '80s. Which this might not apply to you, so if it doesn't, then we won't worry about it. But they, as a kid in the '80s, did you notice or did you ever see the Hulkamania era of Hulk Hogan?
Oh hell yeah! I was a Hulkamaniac, dude. Yeah, I had the shirt and would go see him whenever he came to San Antonio. So the guy was like the greatest hero of all time. I mean, he was bigger than Superman. He was the Hulk.
I had to ask you that because apparently on the new season of Stranger Things they don't mention really anything about Hulkamania, and somebody said there's no way you can be a kid in the '80s and not know Hulk Hogan. So I just wanted to ask you that.
Yeah, I mean, he's like I said, I love the man. On my workout mix, I have his intro song, "I'm a Real American."
Oh yeah,
I have that to get. Yeah, before I work out, that gets me all pumped up. I just kind of walk out of the locker room like I'm whole. And if I ever got into the ring, I would do his poses because it would just be natural.
Okay, okay. I
Love
just
the
had
Hulk,
to
man.
ask that question, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But John, you brought it up, so we got to talk about it. John Hughes. Oh, that's personally my favorite director because of the
Mm-hmm.
genre he does. I love the genre. Um, do you have like a favorite director, or you just kind of like different people's work some of the time?
Oh, my favorite director. I have a couple. One that's been established is David Fincher.
Okay.
Uh, Zodiac, in my opinion, is one of the greatest top five movies of all time. It's also, in my opinion, a lot of people say that The Outsiders, the '80s, is the best casted movie, and I disagree.
Is that with Corey Feldman?
The Outsiders, no, it's with
Okay,
Ralph
that's
Macchio, Patrick
okay.
Swayze, Tom Cruise. It's a good movie. It's casted well,
Yeah,
but
I was thinking of a different movie. I know what one you're talking about now.
yeah. So
Yeah, basically
I
all
mean,
the all the I would say hot actors now back then when they were younger basically.
yeah, I mean, a lot of people say that's the best casted movie, but in my opinion, the Zodiac is the best casted movie ever, man. I mean, the Jake Gyllenhaal, Mark Ruffalo, Anthony Edwards, Robert Downey Jr., Brian Cox, John Carroll Lynch. I mean, the list goes on. So that's one of my favorite movies. So David Fincher is one of my favorite directors. The new one that's a favorite director of mine is Ari Aster. He made Hereditary. He made Midsummer. I just saw that. That's my favorite movie of 2019 so far. I love his approach with horror and how he doesn't use jump scares. He builds atmosphere.
Some scares are cheap to me, but you
It's a
know.
cheap thrill. Yeah. I mean, for me, I've always said this horror movies, there's two types. You know, when you go to a carnival and there's a fun house, you go in knowing you're going to get jump scared. You're going to get scared.
Yeah.
Things are going to make noise and scare you. That is what Hollywood has been making with the Annabelle movies and the Conjuring films. A great horror film should be like you are going to a real haunted house. You don't know what the hell's going to happen, but you're scared and you feel uneasy the entire time. You're looking over your shoulder and you don't know what's going to happen. That's what a true horror movie should be like. And when you
And then they
leave
just
that,
scare you to the end.
exactly, and not even that, but you're just on the edge the entire time, and then you leave and the movie's still in your mind. You're thinking about it. Those are
Yeah.
the best horror movies, in my opinion. And
It
that's why I
leaves
love
a
Ari Aster.
impact.
I'm sorry?
I said it leaves an impact.
Yes, it burns in your mind, and you'll never forget it. So again, Ari Aster is he's my favorite new director. The guy is just he's amazing. Anything he does, I will be there opening night.
I don't know. For me, just John Hughes just has too many hits for me, man. I mean, just The Breakfast Club, 16 Candles, Ferris Bueller. To me, those are I like all those movies. Now, I know many because I watch a lot of retro reviewers as well that say, you know, John Hughes captivated a genre. Do you think that he did or not?
I think he did it, but did it right because there were a lot of teenage movies out there in the '80s. Uh, like
Oh,
one of
trust me,
the
I watched him.
like what are the best unknown '80s movies that deal with childhood, drama and things that can go wrong. I don't know if you've ever seen it. It's called The Last American Virgin. It
I haven't
deals with
seen that one
kids.
actually.
Check it out when you get a chance. Check it out. It's just like a John Hughes movie. You got kids trying to have sex, but it also goes into the dark consequences of it. It goes into heartache, and that's one of the best unknown '80s movies. But John Hughes just captured a genre of just we're all at that age when we're younger, trying to find ourselves and who we are, who we identify as, and he captured that perfectly. That's why there's so much conflict with his characters, like discovering who they are, and then if they're typecast as the rough guy or the daddy's girl, they hate that because that's not them, but that's what the world perceives them. So he identified not just with the '80s, but I think any no matter what generation you are or how old you are, anybody can relate to that. It's just a well-told film.
Yeah, man. That I will say there are some great '80s movies and there's some terrible ones as well. Now,
Hmm.
don't know if you've seen this movie because it is kind of a Halloween-ish movie. But have you ever seen Once Bitten with Jim Carrey?
Yes, that's a funny one. I love it. It's a
You
comedy.
like?
It's so
I don't
stupid.
know. I don't know how I feel about that one. I don't know.
Yeah, it's funny. I remember like that hands-off sequence, that dance sequence at the school. But
Maybe
yeah,
the
I liked it. I liked it. It was like a
maybe
Revenge of
I
the
don't
Nerds
like
meet
it
sci-fi.
a little bit, but maybe I don't like it because of the premise of like she has to suck his blood to be younger, but it but
Hmm.
the place where she it's weird, man. It's just a weird thing
Yeah,
for me it was. And then he
just
turns
get his.
into a vampire.
Yeah, yeah. Doesn't she have to suck the blood from his like inner thigh or something like that?
Yeah. So it
Yeah.
looks weird every time. But
That
um
came out like that came out in the era because it was teenagers trying to have sex or whatever, but
yeah,
teenage shenanigans, but with monsters. And before that, Teen Wolf was really the big deal.
yeah,
Uh,
Mr.
and that,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, Marty McFly was a wolf, and because of that success, they made that movie, and then they made My Bloody Valentine or My Demon Valentine or something like that. So there was
Like I'm
a
pretty sure they
trend,
made both of those movies. You know,
yeah,
somebody
to
has
capture that market.
I mean,
So yeah, go ahead.
I don't, I don't know. I've seen some. I've seen this movie called Some Girls with Patrick Dempsey. Uh, a movie with Robert Downey Jr. and Molly Ringwald, which don't know why I watch these movies because I try to have like an 80s binge that I do, so I can try to watch some movies from the 80s. Some
Mhm.
good, some bad. I do it to myself, but I still have a good time.
There's nothing wrong with that. Like every now and then, I'll go into a '70s binge and I'll watch some '70s movies. And there's a lot of great ones out there. The '70s, they made some really dark stuff, man. And that's why I like not just exploring comic book movies, but I like all genres. And the '70s right now, I'm kind of focusing on. I just saw Deliverance for the first time like a year ago, and I loved it.
Man, Deliverance, oh, that sounds. I might need to check that out because I've been hearing about that one.
Yeah, it's a good one. It's that's a really young Burt Reynolds, man. He was the man.
I've been hearing about that one. I've been hearing about Cliffhanger with Sylvester
Alone.
Stallone. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to check those two out. Do a movie review, maybe not.
Yeah, watch Cliffhanger first. That's an awesome one.
Oh, okay. You know what time it is?
What time is
It's
it?
time for the end of the road. That's a segment. Fact check, cause my end song is end of the road, so I might as well make a segment out of it. So
Okay.
yeah, we're almost to the end here. Just winding down. Do you have a message for the people that don't know you? Give them a good message of who you are and
Who am
what
I?
the as a YouTuber personality. Just show who is Rudy.
Who's Rudy? Rudy is a wow. That's a tough question. Now I got like end of the road in my head now. Like we belong together.
That's my outro song.
Yeah. Yeah. Why do you play with my heart? I'm gonna shut up now. Okay. Anyway, who am I? I'm a 42-year-old movie lover. I'm a YouTuber, and I just want to make the world a little bit better, make it a better place than where I found it. I just want to teach you about some old films that I grew up with and make you laugh at the same time. I'm very sincere with my videos. I can get emotional at times, but I love talking about these topics. So check me out. Check out a couple videos. Leave a comment. Let me know what you think. I've replied to every comment that's left on my channel, and that's all I got to say, man.
Yeah. Speaking of emotional, uh, that one video I saw. Wow. Well, I believe it was your first time at the news station,
Mm-hmm.
and you was like, and now I can say I'm a San Antonio's official movie critic. That moment, I ain't gonna lie, that moment kind of choked me up a little bit.
Oh
'Cause,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, seeing your older videos, see how hard you worked to get that. Ah, man,
Oh,
that is great.
thanks, man. That means a lot to me, man. Because you know how it is. Sometimes you put like a lot of work into some videos or podcasts, and then you hardly get any views. You don't know who's watching. No one's leaving comments. So it really, sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, dude, it means a lot that you saw that story and it impacted you. That really, that means a lot to me, man. Thanks, brother.
Yeah, man. See, a lot of times you have to do it for yourself just because you like to do it. A lot of times it is like that with a lot of people with a lot of projects. Um, just something that you think is cool that you want to do. You might not get all that,
Yeah.
Like a lot of people might not be in the same thing you're into, but you're just being yourself. So when they see that, they gravitate towards it, and everything will come. Everything will be all right.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. I completely agree. Be yourself, be genuine. Everything will fall into place.
Yeah, man. So one more time, can you tell everybody where is Rudy? Where can they find Rudy? Where can they watch Rudy's videos? Where can they maybe request, maybe in the future, if you're gonna do that or not, request a movie review, anything like that?
Oh, that's a great idea. Well, first off, everybody can find me on YouTube. Like I said, just type in Rudy's movie reviews or San Antonio's Unofficial Movie Critic. You'll see my big old head pop up right there on the results. They can find me there. All my links to my social media accounts, like as I mentioned, will be in your description. They can also find it on my YouTube channel. And yeah, I'm open to that idea. If people have a request for a film, I'm more than happy to entertain that. The best way to reach me for that would just be to direct message me, either with my Twitter account or my Instagram account, and I'd be more than happy to reply to you or have that dialogue. I'm totally down for that. So that's where you folks can find me. And like I said, I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers. I'm trying to hit 1,000. So again, if you guys can just subscribe, let me know what you think, and I'd appreciate it. I love engagement, and again, thank you for having me on your show, man. I really do appreciate it.
No problem. Everybody, please go spam this man with John Hughes movies so he can do them, please. Please. And to get him to 1,000 as well, and over that, make it overflow. But man, it's been a good time talking to you. And I know you have anything else to say?
No, again, just thanks. This is a genuine, heartfelt conversation. I know we've been planning to do this for months. I'm finally glad we did it. And hey, it doesn't have to be the last. If you ever want to talk about anything and any topic at all, I'm more than fine with visiting that. This doesn't have to be the last one.
Of course. Now from me, from Rudy, San Antonio's Unofficial Movie Reviewer, from me, Primetime. I gotta say, Primetime is all the time, and we are out.
To the end of the road, still I can't let go. It's unnatural. You belong to me, I belong to you.